I'm not gonna review this phone. I think you guys just need to hear the truth about it. See, this time, I kept the Z Fold 8 Ultra on the side and gave this phone a chance. But this phone can't sit in flex mode. Some apps are not optimized. YouTube makes captions really big. Going through comments makes the reels really small. Pinterest opens up like this. I can barely see more than 2 or 3 messages while texting. Speakers are on the left side, so right side feels... And the phone has this wobble, like seriously, it wobbles. Look guys, this video is not going to be about specs. It really doesn't take too long to tell you, what processor it has, how much RAM it's holding up, how big is the battery, how are the displays this time around, what's the camera setup like, how much it weighs, how thin it is, and how strong the phone is built. I think there are plenty of videos doing just that. Here, we're just gonna drop truth bombs, okay? Things about the phone that have hit me really hard, things that I've loved and hated about this. Let's go. Truth 1. It's the most confusing phone at first. In fact, it doesn't even feel like you're holding a phone. See, when it's closed, it's this pocket-sized square screen and it's perfect for one-handed quick tasks. When open, it becomes a mini tablet, almost like an iPad mini, perfect for watching videos. Then you turn it like so. It's almost like this Kindle reader, and that makes it perfect for reading. That's 3 form factors in a passport-sized phone that's lighter than the iPhone 17 Pro, not the Pro Max. Pro. So while it might be the most confusing device that you've held, it's also the most interesting and the most versatile. But a design like this has its own downsides. Not every app will comply with this size, with this aspect ratio, and we'll talk about that shortly, so sit tight. But here's the second truth. It resets how you use a phone. See, I'll be honest, I was never fond of reading, but now I was never fond of researching the next restaurant that I want to go to. I don't think I've enjoyed editing photos as much as I do now, or even just going through them in my gallery. It looks so good. Or even watching videos while going through people's opinions of me. Fun. So it kind of rewires you in the way you use a phone, but in a good way. Because every screen, in every orientation, has its own purpose. The closed cover screen, easy one-hand use, perfect for quick replies or checking something. The same cover screen, this way, gives you flexibility to catch a quick episode at lunch or enjoy a hands-free call. The inside screen is just all sorts of things, multitask, game, watch, browse, shop. And the same screen, when turned sideways, it's perfect for reading. I also love this portrait orientation for, writing emails or especially my scripts. It gives me a great view of the content and ample space for creative writing. Instagram is also very interesting. It feels a little weird at first. Everything is big, there's less content on the screen. And I think you'll understand better when I compare it to a regular phone. But honestly, over time, I think you get used to it and then it just feels absolutely fine. But the one thing that still bothers me is texting. Because on the cover screen, the keyboard takes up nearly half the space and I can't even see previous messages properly. And this is something that I think requires like a taller screen. Now sure, I could, open it up, I could go this way, but then this requires 2 hands and it kind of slows me down. Anyway, truth number 3. The phone tricks you into gaming more. Remember how I said that, this phone resets how you use a phone, and gaming is surprisingly a bit of an experience on this phone. Because it's a wide display, it pushes the controls to the edges on the sides, and that just gives me more game area. So here's a comparison with a regular phone, and you can see that controls take up quite a bit of game space on a regular phone. And then check it out on the Z Fold 8. It's really nice. Now, sure, a lot of you would not be getting this phone for gaming, but there's a part of you that it's going to unlock and it's going to make you want to play, which is not a bad thing. Anyway, next truth bomb. It's not perfect and there are cracks. A few things about this phone. It's going to bother a handful of people. Not everyone, but a few. First, depending on what kind of apps you use, some of the apps are not going to fit this display properly or they won't work as intended. For example, let's say I open Pinterest here. It looks good, right? Now, let's close it and now open it back. See what happened? Check out Photoshop Express. Like right now it's working just fine. But as soon as I click here, whoop. Or even when I was using Zepto, the scaling of the UI elements really off. If you look at the menu bar, the items are so big, and even when I fold it back, it just doesn't fix itself. But very honestly, there are very few handful apps that I could find which have those issues, and very specialty apps, if anything. Most everyday apps actually work just fine. Take WhatsApp, for example, absolutely no issues. All your Google apps like YouTube or Gmail or Maps, they work perfectly well. Apps like Notion, which I use quite extensively for work, it works without any problems. Or even basic video editing apps like VN or Instagram edits, they work just fine. And honestly, I do think that most popular apps, even if they have like small bugs, they'll anyway fix it over time soon. Anyway, second issue which I already pointed out in the beginning is that the phone, when kept on table, it rocks quite a bit. Third, the cover display. It gets smudgy with fingerprints very quickly, and even the display inside can feel greased up very quickly. I mean, I have a bit of an OCD and it kicks in every time. Fourth, the speakers, and bear with me on this. So the speakers are here, okay? And when I place it like this, it's fine because the audio is coming out from, the respective sides. It's even fine when you're watching like this because speakers are again placed in a regular stereo format. But in the most video-friendly orientation, both speakers are firing from the left side, and so it just feels, a bit lopsided sometimes. I don't know if I can get used to that. Now, I do want to talk about the batteries and the cameras real quick because I do think there's a lot of mixed feelings floating on YouTube around that. Now, the battery, it's fine, it's not as bad as the folding phones I've had in the past. With regular use, it's just about sailing through the day. I may not be using a lot of camera, but I'm on my phone a lot, and really, no issues. And second, cameras. Guys, it's not a camera-centric phone. It's a fold phone. You buy it for the fact that it folds, the fact it's super thin and lightweight, and it's got 2 displays, and because you want productivity. And considering all of that, sure, it's not flagship cameras, but it's still decent cameras. I mean, I've been shooting quite a few pictures, and they're okay, they're not bad, but of course, they're not crazy good like you'd expect from camera giants like Oppo and Vivo. It does struggle in low light, while AI tries hard to sharpen the image, but you get a decent output. Though, no telephoto lens, and that is something that you do miss when you buy a phone that's as expensive as this. So, truth 5. What are you actually paying for? Is this worth the price that Samsung has launched it for? 1.8 lakhs. It is expensive. Quite honestly, there is no phone that's priced like this right now. But then again, there isn't quite a phone that looks like this right now. For context, here's how the pricing has been for Samsung's fold phones in the past, and it certainly competes with phones that offer the best cameras, the biggest batteries, and some popular fruit companies as well. And I've heard people say that while it has flagship performance, super nice displays, great design, but for the price, it doesn't have the biggest or the brightest displays. It's got fewer cameras that are again not top of the line. It does not have the biggest battery or the fastest charging. But here's the thing. It can't be this small and have the biggest display. It can't be this thin and have a big-ass camera hardware. It can't be this light and have a massive battery. Everything that makes it so good is because it made those choices to not have those things or do those things. And so every spec that it loses on paper, it wins in your pocket. And then that brings us to our last and final truth. This phone is an adventure. Let me be very honest. It's not your regular phone, right? You're gonna have to learn to work with it and adapt to it. But the good part is that it's actually an enjoyable process. But having said that, it is for 1.8 lakh rupees, right? So the real question is, are you ready to take on that adventure? That is up to you. My wish list for this phone, okay? Add a telephoto camera, add more silicon to the battery and make it 5500 or 6000 mAh. And if possible, add S Pen support. I'd buy that phone. Now, as much as I'm glad that Samsung made this phone, I think we can really use more of these innovations. But for me personally, I would go with the Z Fold 8 Ultra. I don't do as much of reading or watching videos or playing games, which is great on the Z Fold 8. I'm more of a communications and productivity kind of a person for which the Z Fold 8 Ultra actually works better. But I'm just glad that Samsung's got both now. So depending on what you do more of or prefer more of, you've got a choice. But that's it, guys, about the Z Fold 8. If you guys still have any questions, you guys have thoughts, comments, please, let's discuss about this phone in the comment section. I would love to hear your thoughts. And if you did enjoy watching the video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, guys. Hit that bell notification icon and mark all. Really helps the channel grow. I'll see you guys in the next one.